What's up, everybody? Shawn here for another live Live to Roll. I'm flying solo today. Tom's still having a few health issues, and Bobby was doing one of the local Christmas party things out here at one of the bigger rehabs at Rancho Los Amigos. So I actually did a couple of the parties last week. I did Wednesday and Friday. We did some of the local ones around here. But yeah, so you just got me for the day. I just figured I'm going to do a hangout, open show. You guys can ask about anything you want. If anybody's hanging out in the chat with me, love to hear from you. Really just going to hang out, maybe a little bit of a shorter show, unless you guys have a lot of questions and things you want to talk about and hang out. But yeah, so I really appreciate an active chat today. If anybody is out there hanging out, watching, really would appreciate whatever you got to say, whatever you want to hear. So yeah, we got Christmas coming up next week, a lot of holiday stuff, and the next two shows actually will be Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve for our Tuesday shows. So kind of just end of the year holiday stuff. But next week we actually do have some guests coming on. Kelly and Karen from KFK Designs are going to come on and kind of talk about their story, which we've had them on once before, but they're really cool. And I just got a bunch of the adaptive products for my birthday that Leah bought me from KFK. So it'd be fun to talk to them about some of that stuff. And yeah, so welcome, Jay. Of course, my wonderful wife, Leah, supporting in the chat. And my mom. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys. Welcome, everybody, to the show. And I guess I'll do what I should do on most shows, but never do until the end. But let's do a quick shout out to the sponsors. Thank you for being sponsors of Live to Roll. They do a bunch of great stuff in the community. And if you guys are in the Southern California area and in need of any durable medical equipment, so like any wheelchair, standing frame, commode chair, scooters, anything like that, give them a call. They'll get you sized up, get you going, get you good. And yeah, they'll take care of you. And Urology Professionals is their sister company, and they are national. So anywhere in the country, if you're in need of urological supplies, give them a call. They will help you get everything worked out and get them shipped right to your doorstep. Oh, Chad, Chair Life is in the chat. I actually got to text you back, Chad. I know I haven't shaved in a while. I've been on like a every few week shaving maintenance schedule. So I actually will probably shave next week. Just gonna let it ride for the week. I'll shave it for Christmas week next week. But welcome, Chad. If you want to hop on, I'd be happy to add you in too. Or if you just want, I can actually go over some of that Peristeen stuff, because that's one thing me and you have been texting about back and forth right now. Because my friend Chad here is just starting to use the Peristeen as well. And for me, if you've been part of the show before or watched, you know that I have used that for the last 3.5 years now. And it really did kind of change my life. Stopped me from getting a colostomy, which by no means is a bad thing. Colostomies are great for a lot of people. Bobby loves his. But for me right now, I just wasn't sure if that was the option. It seemed like it was going to be the best option. But right now, the Peristeen has been an awesome option. And especially, it worked great kind of just out of the gate and working. But like over the last year and a half with Leah and I, really kind of like, she takes notes and monitors stuff and like looks up stuff on forums and gets tips. So we've really got it dialed in. Like, my pooping is good. And so, yeah, hey, everybody else in the chat, your grandma, Jay, wondering what you've done for caregivers since the start of your injury. That's actually a great question, Jay. I can start with that right now, too. And if you guys have any other questions about stuff, if you want to go back to Peristeen, anything, I'm just going to ramble for the next hour. So, for caregivers, honestly, for a lot of my earlier injury, I used Craigslist for a lot of the years when I first started. And then the last few years before I met my wife and she's been doing my care, I was using care.com instead of Craigslist, because it was a little bit more vetted. They do have like background checks that they can submit so that it'll show like on their profile if they've submitted the background check, what they've done. So they have a little bit of like monitoring, a little bit safer than just Craigslist, where literally anybody can answer. But that's what I've always done. And for a lot of my earlier years, I typically didn't look for super experienced caregivers, because the ones that I did a lot of times hire would kind of want to dictate how the care was done and how things should go. And for me, like I knew pretty much how I wanted things done, and how I did things. So for me, it was easy just to train somebody that was willing to learn, but didn't actually have much, like a lot of like years of experience, where they had a client for 10 years and, they knew exactly the routines, because we all do have a lot of similarities, but we are going to probably like things slightly different, like the way we do things, the way our body works, all that stuff can vary. But yeah, that's kind of how I've done it. I've honestly never kept caregivers for more than a few years, maybe because of that, since they were new things they would typically, and I was only giving them early in my injury when I was using suppositories. I would have like 5-hour days where I'd have them come in. But over the last 5+ years now or more, I've slimmed that down to like a 3-hour caregiving time for when I do my bowel care. And so that long term is hard to keep somebody, unless that just really fits their schedule and that's all they need is a little tiny extra supplemental income. That's one of the harder things. So if you need more care, I've heard from a lot of friends that do a lot more like care during the day, that need more like a full-time care all the time. Those caregivers, I know a lot of people that have been able to hire long-term caregivers, because that's like, it's enough for them to, that's their job and that's enough for them, and the schedule, everything can work out and stuff. But it is hard. Caregiving is hard to find good ones, and it's a tough thing to manage, even too, just as far as like, you know, like making sure you know what you need for your care, communicating that, and making sure you guys have that very good open line of communication. So those are just some care tips. I'm gonna scroll down the chat a little bit more. Hey, Toto, how's it going? Good to see you in the chat again. And then, oh, Chad, you want to jump in? All right, give me just a second, and or if you have the link, you can actually go ahead. It's the same link you used for Rolling Over the Hill, and I'm happy to have you hop in, and we can talk a little Parastine stuff if you want. Honestly, that's fine with me. Daryl, good to see you too. Glad to see you in the chat. And hope you're doing well. And then, oh yeah, Chad, you also mentioned that you find them on Craigslist. I don't need a nurse. Yeah, exactly. You don't want somebody that's like too stuck in their ways, I feel like. Do I pay out of pocket? For a lot of years, yes, I have. So I actually do in California, and I think in a lot of states, they do have IHSS, which is in-home supportive services. So if you're on Medicare, or if you're on Social Security, I believe that's the qualifier. So if you do collect Social Security benefits, you can get on, you can apply. A lot of people do qualify, and you can get different amounts of hours. So I have gotten, earlier on, I did just pay them directly through IHSS. I would get caregivers registered through the system. But later I did end up just kind of having family collect the money and then pay. That's what I did earlier before my wife was working and doing all the work. I was just kind of having family collect it. And then we were just paying the caregivers I hired out of the cash from that. But it was easier, especially from Craigslist sometimes, to do the the Craigslist hires. Andrew, welcome. Sorry you'll be spending Christmas in the hospital. You know what that's like. That's why we're doing a lot of the Christmas parties and stuff we do locally around here, because it's never fun to be in the hospital for the holidays. So any cheering up that you can get is good. I don't know if they have anything probably like that where you are, Andrew, but hopefully you're getting some family, friends, nurses that are hanging out, spending some time, and enjoying the holiday with you. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Good to see you. The chat. Actually, hope you're doing well. You're probably going to the Northridge Christmas party on Thursday, which we had thought about going to also, but not sure if I'm going to be able to, because Bobby, I believe, is also going to that one. And if I can't host the shows on Thursday, which we have Wheel Girl Talk coming up, Bobby has been able to help me out, but this week I don't believe he can. And Chad, okay, yeah, I'll text you the link right now. Give me just half a second, guys. But any other questions or anything like that in the chat, please let me know. Drop them in there. Chad and I will probably talk a little bit about bowel care stuff right now. So if you have any questions about that or are interested, please let us know. Or any other questions, let me know. Definitely happy to know. And yeah, because it's important. All that stuff is important. And bowel care, bladder care is honestly probably the most important, just because they're stuff you have to deal with daily and hard to manage. All right, Chad, I just sent you the text with the link if you want to hop on here with me. We can do a little dual split thing. And Leah asked, what kind of shows are we doing for 2025? And am trying to work out and plan a lot of the shows coming up this next year. So look out for some cool stuff. We're going to obviously stick to like some of the staples. A few times a year, I do like to talk about bowel and bladder just as their own dedicated shows each. So we'll obviously do some of that. We have some really cool guests lined up, actually. So there are some awesome guests I have coming on. Even maybe talking about some kind of like a little bit more of a roundtable shows on a couple different topics I'm trying to put together. One is like a couples one. Actually, I'm going to try to have for probably, early maybe February next year coming up. We have someone, our friend Gretchen, who's been on the show a few times. Awesome shout out to Gretchen, is helping put together a show with some awesome women that do downhill, like mountain bike, adaptive, like cycling riding, like on bowheads and things like that. So she's actually helped me put something like that together for coming up next year. We're going to do a lot of other stuff too, with kind of just highlighting and featuring other people that have other disabilities, and kind of just sharing some info on that kind of stuff as well. So we're definitely going to be trying to talk to a lot of stuff like that. Had a few other friends I've been trying to message and get set up on here. All right, here we go. We got Chad calling in, so I'm going to add him in, but feel free to keep the questions coming. I will keep answering everything I can, and then kind of having a little conversation with Chad as well here. All right, let me just set this up real quick, guys, so I can do the dual. There we go. And then we'll do this. And do this. Bang. All right.
Hey, Shawn.
Hey, Chad, how you doing? Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah,
I,
thanks for having
I
me.
thought about calling a few people last minute because Bobby had left me a message yesterday that I didn't check my voicemail till today, and then Tom last minute just wasn't feeling good, and it happens. Hey, what? My camera actually looked fine. Okay, I got to figure out why my camera settings are weird, because they were fine on the solo one, but now they're all jacked up. I don't know. I guess it's not a huge deal, but anyways,
Hey,
I'll kind
Sean, yeah,
yes.
I did that. I finally got that Parastine thing to work. It's a little, there's a learning curve with that, you know. I mean, it's a learning curve for sure. First time, I'm just afraid I'm gonna blow up my bowel putting all that, you know what I mean? Putting that water in there like that. It's a little getting used to. But I finally got it to work a little bit. But I only put like 300 milliliters of water in it, and
Okay.
I've popped that bulb like 2 times. You know, just
That's what a lot of people have said that they've had issues with popping the balloon. Um, I can try to give you so like for me, I will say so the people that don't know, just Chad's talking about the Parastene system, which is a bowel irrigation system. I've been using it for about 3.5 years. Chad's been having some issues with like constipation and just not really being able to, to have great bowel movements and have just a lot of bloating and things. So he's trying to find a new system. Um, so for me, I use the full 1,000 milliliters in the bag.
damn.
Um, and it does, the pressure does. So, like for me, what'll happen, the pressure will build and build. And then my stomach will almost make like a hole, like it's like moving in there and it's like pulling the water up and the pressure will alleviate. And then it'll build again and build again. And then, like, again, it'll happen probably like 2 or 3 times during the course of like filling the total one. And then what happens is after it does that thing where it kind of feels like it pulls the water up, it will actually like I'll feel like a little like a kind of slight spasm almost, and I think and what it is,
Mhm.
it's something in my rectum, and it actually pulls the catheter up slightly farther into my butt. Like it pulls the balloon and the catheter up, and when it does that, it closes up for some reason. The pressure starts to alleviate, and I'm like I can hold it after that. Um,
So you don't take it out right away.
no, I wait for that. I actually wait for that to happen. I wait for that little bit, the pressure to kind of like I'll feel like a little like this weird little just kind of like a it's hard to explain, but like you'll feel just like this slight relax like thing like real quick, and it will just relax. And like Leah will tell me like she can feel it. Like that's what I was saying. I didn't realize it was pulling the catheter up, but that's what she told me that it does. Like as it happens, it'll kind of like pull that thing up. And another tip I didn't give you, which I actually didn't even know, Leah found the video for and looked up. Um, when you insert it and fill the balloon, you actually are supposed to pull it down gently so that it seals like against the inside of your rectum. Um, and then it seals in there because if it pushes up a little bit, if it's in, the water will go around it and it come down like around it basically and still
Yeah.
spray out.
Dude, I'm afraid I still am a little afraid that it's gonna just push out filled, you know, with it filled. Hell, it did
I
one time. I
I've
didn't have
pushed
it
it out with
enough.
it filled. I've
Yeah, I
pushed it
have
out with
too.
it filled.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
no, when
scares
the
me.
pressure was too tight, went too much. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
and when that happens, I will have a bunch of AD. Like I'll feel a tightness, and I'm trying so hard to just stay completely still and relaxed and not let that thing pop out of there. But it just, I
that
like it just
scares
a
me,
few times has
man.
popped. Yeah, so
I'm
popped
afraid
out.
it's gonna. I'm afraid it's gonna like flower my butthole. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like I've known some guys that
the
no,
rosebud.
but seriously, you can like invert your butthole. I
No,
mean,
you
we
can't,
can't,
and it's
but
called
you know what I mean? There's a term for it, but
what's
that
it called again?
freaks me out.
Yeah, no.
That,
Oh, prolapse. I couldn't think of the name. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
can get a prolapse anus. Um,
Dude.
I don't know if you can from that or not. But
Well, that's what I'm thinking that I'm hoping that the bubble bust before,
yeah,
that before it would put that much tension to be able to do that. But hell, who knows? Um, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna
it,
give it a go tomorrow again, and because I've had 2 days of a different assistant that's been helping me who doesn't mess with that, and so I'm waiting for the other one to come tomorrow, and she'll help me. Hey, I'd like to bring her on here, her, you, and Leah, and we just and talk about this. Really, I know Leah may not want to, but really, we could talk about this and like and get their perspective too on the whole deal.
No, she's super comfortable talking about it. She doesn't like to be on the camera for
Yeah,
the show. She says I'm the show pony of the relationship. So,
that's right. Love it.
and she
Cool.
also said that her tip was if it starts to push out, to deflate the balloon and restart. So if it's like really forcing that much pressure. So one of the other things I did for a while when like I was having a lot of pressure, and I would also be like slightly like I'd have some like residual left, like kind of like backed up stool that was like down low. I would actually do a fleet enema, or you could use that and do like 100 or 200
Yeah,
and let it clear out real quick. Like let that bottom part try to flush, and then start. So like I've done that where we did a fleet enema and like a light stimulation to get that kind of all out there, clear the lower rectum out, and then that area is all clear, and it's easier for the Peristine catheter to go in, and then it's less pressure, and it
yeah.
seems to work a lot better.
That's what I do, or yeah, that's what I've done is clear it all out first, manually get it out,
Yeah,
and then put the catheter in. But I thought, and then fill it. But I thought the other day about going in, putting the catheter back in again and giving it another go.
that's
You know,
I would honestly say you could try that because I have had to do that before, like where I was kind of leaking a lot, like especially early on when I was starting it, and like it just kind of getting used to it, figuring the system out. Like that would happen where I'd kind of feel like I lost a lot of the water. Like as we pump in, a lot seemed to like also come back out. So like we did that, some came out, but I still felt bloating. It still didn't feel like I was done. So again, we ran the system again a second time, and that actually did work. It cleared it out on the second one. I like everything cleared and came out.
hey, hey, Shawn, do they send you? How long have you been getting? How long have you been receiving this?
Through insurance, just two
Yeah.
months, just the last 2 months. So I've only gotten one pump through insurance and two sets of the 15 catheters per month. So
Okay.
that's all I've gotten so far.
So
Yeah,
are they? I just talked to my medical supply place. It happens to be a buddy that owns the place, and so, but I was talking to him, and he said that they're going to send me two pumps every 3 months. Is that about what you've got going on too? Is that pretty
that I
standard?
actually was trying to figure out, I because the pump says it lasts 90 days. So I was gonna see if I could get more than the one pump every 3 months. And I am trying to figure that out actually. I have to call the medical supply place and see if I can. Because on this last order, this supply place I'm using is actually a bigger one called Byram Healthcare, and it was recommended through Coloplast, like that they deal with it and that they use Medi-Cal. So that's why I was like, cool, like I they worked it all out for me, whatever. So I was happy to go with it. But they have an app, so you do your reorder, just like click it, add it back to the cart, and do it. And I wanted to add the pump for the second time, but I was nervous they would send it to me and charge me for it. So I'm
Uh,
waiting to call to make sure that it's cleared for the insurance before I click and do it. But I'm gonna try next month, I believe, because like I said, I got the first one, the pump and the 15 catheters, and then my reorder came up just like a week ago, and I ordered a new set of catheters. So. But for me, again, the catheters, like, because I was buying, or honestly, the first ones, I just had a buddy from rugby that gave me a pump and three catheters. He just had left in his closet. It was brand new. He was like, yeah, you just take this, use it. He wasn't using the system. And then, again, fortunate enough through Triumph, they have like an online kind of medical supply exchange for people that have extra supplies. And somebody knew that I was looking for the Peristine ones, messaged me and told me that they had like 50 of the catheters on there. No pump, but like 50 catheters. So I got a huge supply of them, and then I was using them for as long as they would last. Another tip I'll give you for trying to, if the first time you inflate the balloon is inside your butt, it's going to pop most likely. I always inflate the balloon before inserting it. Like
okay.
inflate it while it's lubed and stuff before you're doing it. Let it like sit for maybe 30 seconds, like while it kind of like let it stretch itself out without any
Okay.
pressure on it, and then deflate it and insert and then inflate inside.
Dude, great
That's what
tip.
so
Thank you.
that's what I've done, and it seems to help kind of keep the balloon intact better and keep like the keep it from popping as easily. So
That's cool. That's
Darren just asked why we don't use suppositories. For me, I had used suppositories for about 15 years, but I typically had about a 3 to 4 hour bowel program that I would have to do. And honestly, even after sometimes doing 4 hours in the bathroom, I would still end up having an accident. Or if I didn't just feel like I was going to have an accident all day, like getting AD, getting gas, just like not sure if I transferred, if I'm going to shart, if I'm going to shit my pants. So like that's why I switched over. So now I went from literally 3 to 4 hours of hard, just AD, literally sweating sometimes my forehead, like to like 20 to 30 minutes max, really, with this system.
it's
Um,
just such a
so
time-consuming
yeah,
ordeal. And I've never. I'm a hyper guy, man. I just cannot stay still
yeah, that was
for
hard.
that.
That's what I would literally sit there watching shows on Netflix, just looking
Right.
stuff up, just being on Facebook or Instagram or whatever social, just like
You know,
literally just trying to find anything I could do to kill that. Like, because I had like, what do you do for 3 hours when you're just sitting? Like,
yeah.
uh,
Well, onto that point, if I can, and I don't want to change the subject, but onto that point, I'm getting better as I'm getting older, and I guess older in the injury, if you will, and I've been sitting almost 30 years to finally surrendering to the whole deal of it. I mean, just giving myself some patience with the care and getting the care that I need, kind of thing. You know,
mm-hmm.
versus rushing through it and not wanting to take care of myself with the whole thing. And I wish I would have come to this realization about 10 years ago because I guarantee I'd be healthier today. But just wanting to not face it, and I wouldn't say not face it so much as just not have to deal with, and not surrender to it. The time that it takes and the time that we really ought to give ourselves as disabled people. Just hey, you know what, we have needs. Unfortunately, we're in this situation, but you've got to care for yourself. And I think if we don't, then ultimately, we you're gonna pay the price.
Yeah,
For
100%. Yeah, and that's what
that's
like that can really cause some real issues. Like if you are like getting bowel blockages and things like that, like because you're not not being able to clear out and stuff.
yeah. I mean,
And
I
yeah,
lay, I lay I lay in the bed sometimes, getting dressed, and hats off to Mark over at Abilities. I watch this cat sometimes on Instagram, and him putting his socks on, and even yourself, what I've seen your videos from the past, and you guys, hats off for having the patience to do that. But shit, dude, I'm dress me. I want to get, but even having somebody dress me, just taking a breath and being, not running them nuts and saying, trying to get moving. Let's go. Just taking a moment and getting it done and getting up and then going is it's a lesson learned. Ultimately, you pay the price with our health. You know.
yep. No, you definitely, that is for sure true. Um, so yeah, that's important for anybody out there, especially if you're newer. Like me, when I was new, I was young. I was 21 when I got injured, just turned 21. Like I wasn't really thinking and prioritizing long term health things like that. But for as far as doing stuff for myself, I took that as a personal challenge in the beginning and just really thought it was something I could do. And yeah, but I'll be honest now. I get a lot more help now, and that's progressed over the last like years, but especially this last year with my wife. Now I am very spoiled and pampered now. Um, so I still do get like my own shirt and stuff on. I still typically do pull my shorts or pants up, um, but she does most everything else. Like she'll do first the socks, help me with the leg bag, and do all this stuff, and then kind of then I can just she'll do some other work, getting things cleaned up, and I'll slide the shorts or pants up, because that I'm just used to it, and it's we got a good like system. I always try to say teamwork. I like to help and make it just smooth flowing. But and I also felt that for me, it keeps me strong, keeps me in shape, keeps me, you know,
I'm all for doing it myself, but geez, and there's a pride thing too. I mean, it's not that I can't; it's just that hell, if I don't have to, I mean, if I have somebody that's gonna be willing to help me do it, then I'm gonna just let's do it, and I'll spend my energy on something else. You know what I mean? Um,
yeah,
and speaking of caregivers, somebody brought up caregiving prior to me jumping on. Um, we're kind of coming upon that time of year where if you do have a caregiver that comes in and helps you, I mean, X amount of hours or whatever it may be, but we're having to juggle their holiday season too. It's a real crunch for some of us with our assistants. And that hell, they've got family and they have a life too outside of us, and having to balance that and yeah, is something that is comes up at this time of year also.
no, you're right. That's a great point, Jed. Yeah, this time of year, around the holidays and stuff, it can be hard because yeah, caregivers all have families and things, and obligations, especially depending on when, like, if they're flexible to adjust your days, like because like say if you're a Monday, Wednesday, Friday guy, like which I did for a lot of the years, early on. Wednesday's Christmas this year. They're probably not gonna come Christmas morning,
Yeah,
like to help you poop. So like, like that's you got to be able to.
it's a give and
Hopefully
take.
they can adjust or find some, figure out a substitute if you have a family or some anything you can do. But no, that kind of stuff is very difficult and it's hard to manage that stuff. That's 100%. That's a great point, great topic, and I know we also Leah had asked about shows for next year. That's another thing we're gonna try to do is try to have actually at least one show where we have some of the caregivers,
Yes,
family
that's
members,
big
like caregivers,
for sure.
on because to get their perspective because like it's not easy work, like and
Hell no,
again like you don't want to wear out, and like you don't want to wear if your family or if you're just friends with their caregiver that you became friends like you don't want to wear them out to where they got back problems and all these issues and things that like come up. So it's important to
yeah, there's
keep
such
it
a
in mind.
learning curve with all of this, and within that's a big thing to definitely a topic to have to talk about and then bring these caregivers on because having someone come into your home, I have someone come into my home, and I have a wife that I've been married to for 25 years, and she just has nothing to do with me as far as my care goes. She's a nurse and she works and she cares for she works ICU up at the hospital and does her thing 3-4 days a week. The last thing she wants to do is come home and care for me. And so um, I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, bringing someone in your home, some stranger in your home. I've got her, I've been married and then I've got two kids, and the balance of all that, it's much easier. I find it much easier when everyone's gone, and it's just me and the assistant doing what we have to do. That way, we've got the whole house. She can go in the kitchen and do what I've got to, my regiment in the kitchen and things like that. It's just so much easier for me versus having to have her work around the family. It's really a balance. Somebody mentioned where we find these caregivers. I've always used Craigslist, but hell, you get characters, and you've got
Yeah,
to vet these people. And I
yeah,
don't vet them. I don't vet them so much when I don't vet them before they get to my house, but I vet them as soon with my eyes on them as soon as I meet them at the door. And I'm a pretty good judge of character, and you can get a feel. I mean, you can't go right away on what you see, but you get trust your instinct. If you've been
Yeah.
doing this a long time, just gotta trust your instinct on this, and don't, I don't know how you and Leah met, but and don't fall in love. Shit, I'm telling
Well,
you that you can do
yeah.
too. You know what I
That's
mean?
that's what happened. We literally
Yeah,
met. I hired Leah off of Craigslist for a caregiving job. So,
I've
and it was
I've
literally
been
it was supposed to be 1 day a week. I needed
there.
help 1 day a week. 1 day I couldn't get covered. I was like, I just need you to come in literally 3 hours a week. That's all
Yeah.
I need. Like I was like, that's all I need. She's like, oh great. She's like, I already had a pretty much full time work. She was doing stuff. She's like, that'll fill in, and then it just we had the connection. I fell in love. uh, and then
I've done it. I have done it. Yeah.
she said, really F myself on that side job. But yeah, now she's full
That's
time
awesome.
again. But it just, that's how it worked out, like, and so one thing that she actually said, and she, before we even hired me, she actually sent me all the stuff for her background check. And that's literally something I had never really done for caregivers. I'm like, I'm like,
Well,
I remember people telling me to ask if they had a background check, and I think I remember asking that in the beginning, but never actually
well,
ever asked to get one.
yeah. The thing with
Um,
me is hell. A little bit of a dirty background isn't a fail. I mean, in a way, everybody needs a second chance. I'm not gonna judge. Come
well,
in.
as
Don't.
long as it wasn't like care abuse type of stuff,
Yeah, right.
then you're
Oh
fine.
yeah. Or
If
yeah.
they got
Didn't kill
shoplifting on the
anybody.
record, then just make sure you don't leave too much out, like stuff like that. But
That's
uh,
great. Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
no,
There's been some characters, man. I'm telling you what.
I
Jeez, there's
will.
been some characters. Wow.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have as well met and hired some characters. And yeah,
Don't,
that's
hey, don't be smoking dope with them, and 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 just cut out the set boundaries, man. Just set boundaries, because the next thing you know, it just turns into to an issue. If you're not, you've got to set boundaries. You just have got to set the boundaries. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself, whether it be 3 weeks, whether it be 6 months down the way, you're gonna it's just not there's gonna be a problem, and
yeah,
it's not something, especially when you're working with an outside agency, and you just don't. I personally don't, and I've had to learn. You don't want them having the upper hand over you, because they get some power on you, and then you know, and it's like, ooh, and yeah, and two, with them, when they're set to come in a certain amount of hours that you have established a routine with, if you start cutting that back and giving them leeway, then that becomes an expectation, and I'm pretty passive and pretty
me too.
it's too nice, and so it's taken a long time for me to just learn to be more assertive and set boundaries.
That's
And I noticed that in the long run, it's better off. I've got a really good assistant that works for me right now, and um, it's great. And we both know our boundaries, and it's real good. But just like everything cycles, so that won't be forever. It's good for hopefully as many years, if I can even go a year. But then, and those are the kind of people that I think that that work out great, and that are good employees, and show up on time. Like I tell all these people, showing up is half the job. Just show up on time, because otherwise I'm stuck in that bed, and I might have this family around, but they're not always around, and they sure the hell aren't. They're coming and going, and sometimes, during the year, I've got where everyone leaves here for 2 to 3 months. They go overseas, and I have no one, and showing up is a huge deal. You got to show up.
Yeah. And that,
But
well,
yeah,
see, but that's the other thing is they got to show up for sure. But that was one thing that I, like you, I'm also somewhat passive on that stuff. Like, I'm not very good at being assertive, like asking them to do more, especially once they've been there for a while and like they're showing up on time. You get a little bit too stuck on that. And like, to me, that ended up kind of being like how I gauge the quality of care. I was like, well, they show up on time. Like, oh, well, they're not cleaning this thing. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. But at least they're here. Um, that's good that they're coming in, but you need to at least be able to, like you said, set boundaries with them to make sure that they're not doing things like that's what Leah mentioned. Like even with our care stuff, that's one thing that it still has continued to work for us doing care is during the caregiving time, like it's very much looked at like it's work. I know she's working. I have to like respect that. And make sure and then she also like same thing like she's not going to slack off because we are married and like she's going to still do the same quality of care, clean everything, do everything. If she doesn't do something, she'll get upset if I don't tell her and like say, "Oh, you didn't do this," like remind her because that's not then I'm not communicating my needs. Like so all that kind of stuff is important. Real quick, we still have like 15 minutes left, but I forgot since it was kind of a random show here, and I actually was given. If anybody knows what cush pockets are, they're actually little pockets for your wheelchair. It's a oops, let me grab it. It's a here, thank you. So here, I'll try to hold it up right here. But it's a this plastic part right here just slides under your cushion, and then this is like the front pocket. It's got a zipper pocket, and then this is just a magnetic little magnetic fold. And the zippers have big O-rings on them. They got big loops on them, so it is quad friendly. If you have a manual or power chair, it literally just slides under your cushion and hangs. They're really high quality products, and they're made by friends of the show, Jason and Jesse, who are also a para and quad couple that live out in the Midwest area. So that's their company. They make those. They're honestly a really quality bag. They donated a few to be given out for some stuff. And in that bag, you'll also get a brand new A Christmas Story Blu-ray. Since it's the holidays, we got
I thought
that's coming in there too. But the Cush Pocket bag is a really cool quality bag. So if you guys want the bag, I'm literally just going to pick a random number off of Google random number generator. So put your number in the chat. Chad, you're welcome to enter as well. Just let me know your number. Since you're not actually a host, you just joined to help me hang out and fill in. But yeah, so they're really cool bags. They're honestly really good priced on their website, the Cush Pocket website. I think like $50. It's a quality bag. They're really nice. Um, and yeah, he gave me a handful of them to do for donations, and I haven't done one yet. So I thought this would be a nice right before Christmas. Get yourself a nice little Cush Pocket bag. Leon, awesome man. See you 13 in the chat. But yeah, back to the care stuff. For real quick, the boundaries things really matters. Like establishing that like good working relationship is very important. I feel like is like because if you lose that, and I've had issues with that, um, it's hard when people don't really take it too seriously. Like for me, I was getting what all I really needed was to get help pooping. Like I needed my bowel care. Once I did that, like I guess I didn't have very high quality standards for like cleaning and doing things like that.
and then it doesn't get done, you
No, and
know,
it doesn't. Yeah, and
and it just builds up, and then ultimately it comes back on us because it turns into a hygiene thing. And I mean, I don't ask them to clean the toilet every day, but we got to do it at least once a week. And I've gotten in the habit of, and again, I've got a family here, so I just stick to cleaning my room and my bathroom, as far as the cleaning goes, and anything we do in the kitchen kind of that has to do with me. It really is a balance that I have to find that is difficult. I find difficulty in that in so many ways, but yeah, if it doesn't get done, then ultimately it turns into a bag of rocks, and it's just like shit, and we're in trouble.
Yeah, no, exactly, man. So that stuff is super important. That's what we are going to definitely make sure to cover that as like a main topic too. I'll try to do, like I said, even try to have some caregivers for the caregiver perspective and stuff, and because that stuff is, it's hard to have that really good balance of, because of course you want to be nice and friendly and like, have a good relationship with them, but you also can't be afraid to like ask them to do things or to clean things extra, or if they didn't do something, like
Yeah,
make
I've
sure.
got I've got a good friend Todd, and he's really good at just staying focused, and he's very assertive, and he gets things done, and he's not mean about it in being assertive. He's just very assertive, and it's cut and dry. And I've been around him before, and I kind of scratch my head thinking, man, he's a little too assertive, but you know what? Things get done, and I mean, I guess that's why he was a great business owner with ADI, and the accomplishments that he made, in that he was just, he knew what he wanted, and he's able to express it, and just that be that. And so he's always had real good care, and stayed fairly healthy throughout the years. And I attribute a lot of that probably because of him being able to set these boundaries and stay assertive the way he is. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's a big thing. If you can go there and stay there, and in your time with your care, it's important to, like you say, set those boundaries. Otherwise, our health's going to suffer, and then your health suffers. You're gonna end up dying. Because this stuff, it is what it is. But yeah.
yeah, no, exactly. And Leon, I don't know if it worked, but I tried to put the link. I'll put it in the description for the Kush Pocket website, but okay, it didn't work for me. I know most people won't. It won't let you, but since I'm from the Live to Roll account, I think it lets me do it on there. Yeah, so that's what she also mentioned, that you need to come on the caregiving hiring episode. And like you said, you are already talking about having your caregiver on to talk about, the Parastine and like how you run it, doing it and stuff. And
Yeah, this last caregiver, she's taught me a lot in just the way she is. She's very much, she's established, she's organized and boundary driven, and I've learned a lot from that. I mean, hell, at 52 years of age, and this been in this chair for that, we're learning as we go. And I mean, and I've learned a lot from her, just being able to understand that boundary that she's and been able to, and she's helped me with that assertiveness. So I
yeah,
don't know.
no, that's like one thing that for sure, that it's having that good, because that's one thing too with Leah. Like that's maybe one of the reasons why like we got along really well, like personally and things. But she also just like has embarked like so much just other knowledge and things from like care and just how like just cleanliness things and different things like that. And it
Yeah.
really does, like when you can find somebody that can really kind of help you, guide you with those things, it helps a lot. Like somebody, like she said, she cared. That's what you literally just need, to find a caregiver that actually cares. Like I think Leon has a really good caregiver in the chat. I know he like looked up, he was the one that found Live to Roll and like gave him the link and stuff, and like got him connected. And when you have a caregiver that really does care and like, you know cares about your well-being, not just showing up and getting a paycheck, it matters so much, like that's
Well,
just.
and it, but well, and two, but what it causes too, and then it's so that, again, this goes back to the boundaries. I'm pretty needy, and you got somebody that cares about you, and they come over, and they're actually genuinely caring about you. We Personally, you've got to be able to establish. I've had to establish that boundary with it. It's like, it doesn't become personal, it stays professional. And there's a fine line there. I mean, there's a fine line there that's just, you've got to yeah, I don't know what it is, and I don't struggle with it, but I'm very mindful of that, of, of of those dynamics. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this definitely super important. So we will try to have a show on that, and I probably will try to invite you back, Jack, because you do have good thoughts and insight on it, and maybe even have Leon on too. See
Yeah.
if you guys both like, because you guys have both like recently found knowledgeable, good caregivers that care and are trying to help improve things in your life. So that's cool. It's really really awesome. And Yeah, so that's cool. Anything else? Anybody else want to enter the raffle too? So far, it's just Leon and Juan, I think. And then Chad, if you want to give me a number, I'll make sure to add you in too, if you want, if you're interested in the bag. Um, and this is
Yeah.
their,
I'll go
I
number
think this
five, Sean.
number 5. Okay, I will. I'm gonna just put that in the chat so I have it in there saved. Chad 5, because I'm just starring him so I can go back and have all the comments there. Um, but yeah, so that kind of stuff, like that's cool. We actually did get to touch on some bowel stuff, caregiving stuff. Um, what about anything else going on right now for you, Chad? In
Cold
life?
weather. We don't get a lot of it over here in South Texas, but we get some. We've been having some cold weather. It's right here. This thermos. Um, I totally recommend this. Even with these kangaroo hands we have, it's a great deal. You can get it. I can operate the top with my mouth, um, and I can hold the handle. So you get the handle on it, and pour it. So you always have hot water. Hot water, cool. It warms me from inside. So I highly recommend that. And layer your shirts, layer your t-shirts. I know we're constantly trying to keep them cooled down in the back, but yeah, the cold weather. It's not. I'm not a big fan, but socks and layers and hot water. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, that is like super, super like important. The cold. We just did like a little temperature regulation one too because, yeah, no, as a quad especially, it is hard to stay warm. And then that's what we were talking about. Once you cool down, you get that chill in your bones, especially in
Shit,
your.
man, it's hard to break it.
It
Yeah,
is so
it's hard to
hard.
break it. And then too, you can get cold where I noticed it too. You can get cold in your feet, and then when you go lay down at night, that blood starts circulating down in your
That
limbs and comes up to
that
your core, and then you're freezing cold for the next hour and a half.
no, yeah. That's literally what we were talking about too. And that's what I had told somebody had told me that years back that yeah, your blood like will pool in your like lower limbs and your feet and stuff and it's cold there and then like cuz Bobby was said the same thing. Like 30 minutes after he lays down, 20 minutes after he lays down, he just gets like that icy cold feeling that won't
Uh,
like and it's hard to break for like an hour or two. Like it just your body's really trying to like regulate and like but yeah, no, that's like such that's a super for sure real thing. So that's what I started doing pretty much as soon as it gets as soon as it's below like 70, 75 around here, I pull out my Under Armour long sleeve shirts. So like I basically don't wear t-shirts without these like some sort of under shirt on, so like I have two layers always and then I have the hoodie and then in my backpack that I have on my chair, I have a neck gaiter, like a warm fleece neck gaiter and a live to roll beanie. So if I'm out, I'm like boom, pull the gaiter and beanie out if I need to.
Hey, here's what I've done over the last couple of years. I got these crew neck T-shirts from Costco, like a black crew neck. They sell, and I get a size under. I got a like right now. I've got a small crew neck on, and it's tight as all get out. But I pull it on in the morning, and I leave it. It's just like it's a short sleeve, and it's my first layer. And I leave it for I only take a shower 2 or 3 days a week, but I'll leave that undershirt on, until I go back into the shower, whatever day it may be, and then I just layer on top of it every day if I'm changing clothes or what have you. And I'll even sometimes on top of that layer, depending on how cold it is out, I'll put another tight long sleeve on and leave that on all the time also, and then just layer on top of that so that I keep my core a certain temperature, and then just build from there. So I never get cold because shoot, like we talked about, you get cold and get that chill. It's a ugh, I don't like it. It takes a
Yeah.
while to break it.
Yeah, so if anybody is missed our temperature regulation episode, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So go ahead and check that one out. We're getting about to the 4:30 mark. I do want to try to pick a raffle winner here in a minute, but oh, Ken says he's sitting here with a hair dryer pointed at his neck. I've actually
Dude,
met
I've done
several
it too.
quads
I've totally
that
done
use
that.
hair dryers to warm themselves. I know a bunch
Oh
of
my
people
god.
that have done that.
Dude, I went to Vegas one time and it was cold. My brother and I went, and fuck, I was in the bathroom with the hair dryer. He was laughing at me. I mean, it just I was with the hair dryer, and it was yeah, I totally get it. Good stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is. I've seen a bunch of people at rugby tournaments doing that. And real quick before we do, if anybody wants to enter the raffle, please let me know, or the drawing real quick. Drop a number 1 through 100 in the chat. And I wanted to shout out Sharon in the chat. Thank you, Sharon. Sharon ordered a bunch of the Live to Roll merch for Christmas gifts for her family. And I really appreciate your support, Sharon. Thank you. And if you would like to enter the raffle, we're giving away a little Cush Pocket wheelchair bag. It just slides under your cushion. You don't have to screw in, no attachment, no clamp, no anything. Literally just slides right under the cushion, and you can hang it from any direction that it's open for. So if you want, enter number 1 through 100, and we will go ahead and get a drawing going. Let me double check and make sure I did. Jay put negative 30 Celsius in Alberta where he is. I was just gonna take 30 as your number, Jay. I'll have to see what shipping to Alberta does cost though, so I'm not 100% sure on that for the raffle. But let me know if you do want to enter the giveaway. If you do, um, um, and negative 30 is damn. So that's.
Ah, you're a champion. Jeez. Wow.
And Ken, if you want to join we're giving away a Cush Pocket. It's a wheelchair pocket. It's literally called Cush for cushion. I thought it was Cush for something else when I first saw their company. I was like, oh, you guys make little weed pockets? But it's a cushion pocket, and they're a really quality, well-made bag, honestly. And they're people in our community that I want to support and get people out there checking their products out. So, yeah, check that out. Enter, and if not, I am gonna do my random number generator, probably like 1 minute here. What I will do first, actually, is just shout out. Oh, Jay, you're too far. Okay, no worries, man. But I will try and find out and see. I don't know what international shipping does cost to Canada and stuff. I right now do just ship to the U.S. for products, but maybe I could talk to Chad about that. You guys probably do with Chair Life, maybe. I don't know.
That Canadian border is difficult. I try
Yeah,
not to. I don't do it either. The Canadian, even with other manufacturers I've worked with before, that Canadian border is tricky. Yeah, getting through it.
yeah. So that's I don't know a lot about it. I haven't done any shipping yet, so I'll have to look into that for the future. Maybe for next year, that's a good goal to figure out. But coming up on Thursday, we actually have another show. We have the Wheel Girl Talk. So the girls will be on talking. I think they're just kind of doing a year end kind of wrap up review hangout show. So go hang out with them. They always just kind of have some good, fun, bantery talk and just enjoy the time and kind of talk about what they got going on in life and stuff like that. So make sure to check that out this Thursday at 3 o'clock. They'll be on. And like I said, I will have a show next Tuesday on New Year's Eve and the following on, Christmas Eve and the following on New Year's Eve. So we'll have little shows. So if you're not doing anything, you're looking for the community and you want to hang out, please come join us. All right, guys, let me look up the random number generator. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. Okay. All right. Click generate. We got a number up there. I won't read it yet. I'll give everybody just a second if anybody did want to pop in there. Um, and oh, okay, someone else can grab it. Okay, no worries, Ken. All right, so let me switch over. We got 5 entries, so good chance of winning it on this one, or four actually, because yeah, Jay was not in it. So you got 25% chance of winning it, and let's go ahead and generate. And it came up with 1 out of 100. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me redo that. I apologize. I only had it to 10, not to 100. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, I got Chad excited there. 79. Sorry, I should have made sure to check it was on. 1 out of 100 was 79. So the highest was Juan actually. So you would be the closest Juan. Let me know. I know you are local, so I can either ship it to you if you want to message me. I think you have my number. You can text me, and I can get your address and I can get it out to you. Or if you want, I know I'm planning a Ballard outing for next month. I can also hold on to it for you if you want to come hang out at the Ballard outing, um, which is a support group for people that want to know locally around here where I live in the Inland Empire. I help run for Triumph and I do outings every month. So we do like bowling or like go to like a restaurant or something and kind of all just hang out and socialize for a couple hours. So, um, but yeah, and Juan, so let me know how you want to get that if you want it, and how you want it. So appreciate you guys all entering, and that was kind of a last minute thing I decided to do, uh, especially once I realized, or I thought I was going to be on here by myself. But thanks for hopping on here with me, Chad, keeping me
Yeah, thanks for
company.
having me.
Good to get some extra talk to, like good information for the Paristine. And like I said, I'll text you, text me or call me, and I can give you any other little tips and things we can, if you
Okay.
need. Like I said, like those couple things for before, inserting and all that stuff helps, and just yeah, all that stuff. So,
Awesome. Cool.
but all right, you guys. Thanks again. Like I said, we will be back next Tuesday for another Live to Roll live show. Um, and the Thursday after Christmas, Bobby and Robert said that they were up for doing the show. So they will also be back next week on the Thursday, the day after Christmas, for a show for you guys as well for Rolling Over the Hill. So make sure to tune in to all that stuff coming up, you guys. Thanks again for hanging out. Chad, thank you for hopping on and hanging
Yeah,
out with
thanks for
me.
having me.
And yeah, thank all you guys again. Merry Christmas. If you don't join next week and we don't see you, hope everybody has happy holidays. And yeah, live to roll, everyone. See you next time.
Cool. Thank you, Shawn.